I'm here to see Dr. Gibbs.
This is Marcus Rogers with the Prairie News. I wanted to speak with you about something that has personally impacted me. Vaping, or the usage of e-cigarettes, has become a major problem on multiple college campuses. If you look around your classes or lectures, there's going to be someone that uses vapes in there with you if you do not use it already. I sat down with Dr. James Gibbs from Student Medical Services to talk about a variety of topics concerning this banned substance on the West Texas A&M University campus.
High percentage, but I think they've done studies probably about 35% vape. And as far as the percentage of people that used to smoke, it was more like 20%, 22% of the college age population. And so vaping has become more popular, and our big concern is that it is affecting folks and unfortunately may be making them a lot more likely to start smoking at some point or another.
E-cigarettes use the main ingredient of nicotine, which is found in cigarettes and other tobacco products. Nicotine from an electronic cigarette or e-cigarette affects the body of the user by going quickly from the lungs to the bloodstream. It causes the body to release adrenaline, a hormone that raises the pulse, blood pressure, and breathing rate.
Nicotine itself can bring about a lot of physiologic changes. It can increase a person's heart rate, and it can increase a person's blood pressure, is I guess the biggest concerns. But it also can increase anxiety and cause people to feel sort of shaky. And then when the person gets addicted to nicotine, then withdrawal of nicotine can also cause similar type symptoms too. Our body sort of is funny. It reacts when we're doing something bad to our body, but then when we've been doing something bad to our body and then we try to stop it, then it reacts kind of the same type way.
The human body is complicated, and sometimes companies try to take advantage of that function. Juul is a major brand in the e-cigarette market. It was Juul that got in trouble with the U.S. government for catering to children.
It seems like the people are pretty smart that sell the vaping kind of materials. They are targeting young folks, younger and younger folks. Last I saw, there's like 1,000 flavors that you can choose if you use your bubble gum and everything else. But the bottom line is, our concern is that once a person's been vaping for quite a while or for a while, they have a higher likelihood to move on to cigarettes, and that obviously is much more dangerous for a person, much more difficult to get off. So there's a strong concern that vaping is kind of, I don't know, you call it a gateway chemical, but I guess it's gateway behavior. It's kind of a false sense that it's going to help with anxiety. People sometimes that do have a lot of anxiety have the feeling that if they smoke or if they vape, that may be a calming effect to them, and it might do that. But the truth is, if somebody just went outside in the fresh air and breathed oxygen, just took big deep breaths for 5 to 7 minutes, that would help with anxiety also, probably just as much as the cigarette. But people have that perception, and so they sometimes think that they need to use either vaping products or tobacco products as a means to try to help them to relax.
Quitting takes a lot of time and a personal decision to chuck the vape. Luckily, as a WT college student, student counseling in the Classroom Center and Student Medical Services offer services to help students quit. Dr. Gibbs mentioned some great ways to help any student that wanted to start the quitting process.
For people that have addictive type behaviors, if they want to do it on their own, they can kind of, there's a couple of options. One option would be kind of cold turkey. Not sure I'd recommend that for most people, but that's an option. Probably the mechanism that I recommend using more is trying to count how much they're doing each day, how many times they do the vape each day, or how many cigarettes they smoke each day. And then what I encourage people to do is to kind of set out a plan so that they are gradually doing less and less and less. Let's use cigarettes, for instance. If a person's smoking a pack a day, that's 20 cigarettes. And then for maybe a week period of time, a person can count out maybe 18 cigarettes, so they've reduced their cigarette usage by 2. And then the next week, reduce it by 2 more, so they cut it down to 16. each day, and then the next week they cut it down to 14. The next week they cut it down to 12. And so what people can do is sort of emotionally start the weaning process, which is great, but also biochemically they sort of start the weaning process so that they're not taking in less nicotine. Nicotine is highly addictive, and if you try to discontinue the use of nicotine, our body doesn't like that. And so if you do it sort of on a gradual basis, sometimes that can maybe be more helpful.
As a matter of U.S. public health, the usage of a vape is not recommended unless to help combat a tobacco addiction.